In Laos, when a Hmong family failed to pay tribute for the year, the Hmong tax collector often make deals to take the family daughter in exchange to covering for the year tribute on behalf of the family. Many Hmong tax collector during that time had multiple young wives, and some as young as even 8 years old because of this. Tong Kai Mua was Hmong tossing in Nong Het until 1917, when he decided to retire from the position. Lo Bliayo was supposed to be appointed the new Hmong tossing in 1918, but it was postponed when a war broke out by the Hmong people in Vietnam against the French. The situation for the Hmong people in Laos wasn't as bad as the Hmong situation in Vietnam. In Laos, the Hmong were in charge of collecting the tax tribute from their own people under the supervision of the Hmong tossing Tong Kai Mua, but in Vietnam it was totally different, because the Hmong in Vietnam didn't have the same privilege as the Hmong in Laos. In Vietnam, the ethnic Thai tax collector was put in charge of the Hmong people in Vietnam, and the Hmong people were heavily exploited by the ethnic Thai tax collector. The ethnic Thai people have always had a strong hatred against the Hmong people that arrive in the mountains of Vietnam in the early 1800s that begin dominating the ethnic Thai over the mountains region. The ethnic Thai discriminated against the Hmong people in Vietnam heavily, and being put in charge of collecting taxation from the Hmong people, they exploited the Hmong people heavily. The ethnic Thai tax collector would take Hmong young daughters from their parents that couldn't pay for the taxation, and force many Hmong men into hard slave labor that couldn't pay for the taxation. And those who dare to go against the ethnic Thai tax collector were attacked by the French and forced into prison. Some were beheaded by both the French and Thai tax collector, and their head would be publicly put on display to send a warning to other Hmong people. In 1918, a young Hmong man named Pa Chai Vu from the village of Na O in the Den Bien Phu district organized an all-out rebellion. According to the Hmong in Vietnam, Pa Chai Vu originally came from China, and knew how to write and speak Chinese. On January 31, 1918, Pa Chai Vu led his Hmong troops equipped with Hmong musket to surround Muong Thang, and conducted a surprise sneak attack on the French and the ethnic Thai tax collector, killing everyone with no mercy, and also burnt the entire village down to the ground. Pa Chai Vu troops also capture some modern French rifles that greatly boosted their morale and motivation and declare Hmong independent. Pa Chai Vu then split his Hmong army into two, and attacked Muong La and Dong Xiang on February 8, 1918. The French sent in reinforcements, and by the end of February Pa Chai Vu army was pushed back and forced to go on the retreat. In retaliation, the French captured many Hmong families, and brutally executed them, and beheaded many Hmong people, and stacked their heads on public display. Some Hmong people that escaped the French attacks fled west into Laos for safety. News of the French brutal persecution spread throughout the Hmong communities like wildfire, and only made more Hmong people to explode out to revolt. By June of 1918, word had spread throughout the Hmong communities of a Hmong king named Pa Chai Vu that had appeared to save the Hmong people. The Hmong in Vietnam demanded that if the French want peace, then the solution is simple, and that is to have the Hmong people in Vietnam to have their own direct tossing to the French administration, in order to escape from the oppression of the ethnic Thai tax collector. On August 15, 1918, ethnic Thai head chief Deo Van Cang led his Thai tax collectors to massacre the Hmong village of Nam Lai, sending a warning to the Hmong people to drop their demand to the French. He wanted to keep his control over the Hmong people. On October 30, 1918, Pa Chai Vu led his army back on the offensive, and split his Hmong army to attack Sun La and Lai Chau, as he led another group to repulse the French reinforcement that he had already predicted that would be sent to support the fight. Pa Chai Vu then attacked and burnt the village of Muong Thang, killing many ethnic Thai people living in the village. This was an attack out of pure revenge against the ethnic Thai for massacring the Hmong village of Nam Lai. Pa Chai Vu, Uncle Shung Tu Vu, was convinced that Pa Chai had gone mad and insane, and tried to dissuade him to stop. Shung Tu Vu told Pa Chai to resolve the issue through diplomatic with the French instead. But Pa Chai responded to his uncle, saying that there was no going back now, and that there will be no more talks with the French moving forward. Pa Chai Vu, and his uncle Shong Tu Vu, continued to argue, and eventually led to a violent fight, where Pa Chai Vu tried to stab his uncle, but ended up stabbing his aunt instead when she tried to break up the fight. On December 5, 1918, French sent an official delegation to speak with Pa Chai Vu on a peace deal, but instead Pa Chai Vu had him executed, and had his head cut off, and sent back to the French. The French will go on to name this war as the Madman's War, due to all the headless body that was discovered from this mad war, and also the fact that the French troops themselves was willing to go to the extreme with the Hmong people. In 1919, Pa Chai Vu arrived in Nong Het in Siêng Quan province to convince the Hmong people in Laos to support his cause, and to establish a Hmong independent kingdom with its capital at Den Bien Phu. Pa Chai Vu led his Hmong army in Laos to attack Lao village, ethnic Thai village, and French installations throughout Siêng Quan province. The local French garrisons in Laos was dispatched to quash Pa Chai and his Hmong troops, but the French were defeated, and forced to retreat by September of 1919. The French, in response to the defeat, sent in more French reinforcement from Saigon and Hanoi. On October 12, 1919, the French attacked one of Pa Chai Vu's fortified village of Ban Nam Gan. The French also conducted systematic pacification, that forced Hmong people out of every village they came across, and burned every Hmong crops they came across, and herded the Hmong population into concentration camps, where execution of suspected Hmong supporter of Pa Chai Vu took place daily to bring fear to the Hmong people, to deter the Hmong people from supporting Pa Chai Vu rebellion. Pa Chai Vu responded by attacking several ethnic Thai villages, conducting mass killing, execution, pillaging, rape, and cutting off heads of corrupt ethnic Thai tax collector, and sending their head to the French. Today most Hmong historian and storyteller, mostly from Western country, said that Pa Chai Vu himself never conducted mass killing, but instead it was done by his troops without him not knowing until later. But stories from the Hmong in Vietnam, especially those that live in and near and around where Pa Chai Vu once lived, will tell you just how brutal and mad insane Pa Chai Vu really was, and how he almost killed his own uncle, when his uncle tried to talk him out of his madness, and how Pa Chai Vu had this extreme hatred towards the ethnic Thai people, because he personally saw how his Hmong people was forced into slave labor, and execution by the ethnic Thai tax collector, and wanted to exterminate them completely. The brutality that was done against his Hmong people drove him mad insane, and the war became known as the Madman's War. This was one of the main reasons why not all Hmong people supported him in his conquest of an independent Hmong kingdom, because they saw him as an insane madman. For example, Lo Blayo and the Hmong Kaitongs in Nong Het, along with the majority if the Hmong people in Nong Het didn't support Pa Chai Vu, and actually had a pretty good relationship with the French instead, and openly supported the French. Lo Blayo in Nong Het actually lead his personal Hmong troops to support the French against Pa Chai Vu. The other reason was that the Hmong in Nong Het already had a good relationship connection with the French, and didn't want to break that relationship, and put the Hmong people in Nong Het in danger. The other reason was that Lo Blayo wanted the title Tosang and needed to prove to the French of his loyalty to get that title of Tosang. He was supposed to be appointed as Tosang of Nong Het in 1918, but because of the war the French decided to delay his title since the French wasn't sure if the Hmong in Nong Het was going to join Pa Chai Vu rebellion or not.